whenever something is new, it's engaging in the beginning. Once all the students are used to, they're like, sir, you're doing this again, we are bored. Then you bring out new ideas. But initially, use all the ideas across grades. So first, what I'm trying to tell you is that freedom of imagination brings innovation. I'm sure that innovation is a word that everyone is like, oh, we have to be innovative, original thinkers, and genuine knowledge creators and researchers and etc. But if you don't let children to imagine and express, then innovation cannot be brought about. So over here, the little children from pre-primary and primary. So you see this symbology which I've used. If it says pre-primary, which means pre-primary and primary, both. If it says upper oblique primary, which means primary and upper primary, okay, both of them. So I'm saying you can utilize okay, let them create, write letters in any given fashion, form, figure, as long as it is seen, and let them, so little, I'm saying primary education, I would actually allow children a lot more imagination and less emphasis on they have to be correct. Because the thing is that imagination, and because imagination also brings interconnection between things. So allow them to express. Something like this one, which says images speak. Expression, like I said in the beginning, is communication. A communication is not only written and verbal. Communication is as long as I can make you understand what I'm having in my head. All right. That's good enough. For example, if I write break, but I break the word itself. Now, doesn't that give a much clearer indication of the word? So this can be used for primary and upper primary also. This can be an exercise that children are coming up with this. The clock has a clock inside. The fall, the letter is falling inside. So that gives clear indication of what the word means, right? So this clearly shows certain, I can see people are raising their hands. If there is any concern, I would also request moderators, if I missed a chat somewhere, please let me know. You can interrupt me at any given point of time. And a lot of your questions that you're asking right now, just wait till the end of the presentation, because I know a lot of questions will be answered. Okay. Now this is for grade primary, that even something as objective as numbers, because numbers are supposed to be, you can't even write a poem with numbers typically. So numbers are very boring, and math teachers sometimes have this problem of how do we make maths interesting. In fact, math phobia is a real phenomena. People actually go through stress, depression, and anxiety when it comes to math. So at least in primary, pre-primary level, let them write in different ways. Don't focus on, there is only one way to write, and creative writing and cursive writing. No, I'm saying there is immense, as long as number one can be identified as number one clearly. That's it. Now, in what form the child is writing number one, because this will create a little more, they'll use imagination. Oh, I'm going to write number one in different ways. All right. Similarly, a child or anyone, if they can draw, they can paint, they can fold or even weave numbers. Writing number is not a limitation. Then that's what we have to understand. You can draw a number, you can paint a number, as you can see. You can fold like the sheet over there, a thin sheet of paper, you can fold it into number two. So this allows for children to always be engaged, and especially for a lot of children, I would say 20% children might, or 30% children might actually suffer from struggle with numbers and writing. So give them different avenues, let them express. And trust me, sooner or later, children, when they create self-pressure, is when they learn the fastest. If you are trying to create pressure that, oh, by now you have to start learning to write by 4, by 5, and as you can see, when we were expected to read and write when we were small, 30 years back, 20 years back, versus now, they are increasing the competition, which is actually counterproductive and dangerous, because you are putting too much strain on the young neurons of the child. And even when the motor skills are not developed, you are forcing them to write number one in a particular fashion. And that number one is a very complex, how do you teach the significance? You're not even taught them what significance of number is. And before that, you're telling them how to write a number. There is no connection for them. So forced learning creates distortion in the mind, is what I'm trying to tell you. And so create engagement with different forms. Now this is a geometrical, you can say geometry class. You can utilize this idea. Larger idea is set limits, but do not restrict. And this is an overall learning for everyone, that you put limits for every assignment in art integration, but then do not restrict. You have given your assignment and you said, okay, you have to do, this is the what is required and this is the objective and this is the limitation. But then when they come something and they're like, no, but no, you're not allowed to do this. Then they come with something else. Then you're like, oh, you're not allowed to do this. So once you have set the limit, then do not restrict. So in this example, what is happening is, say you have the concepts to cover as line, line segment, ray, intersecting parallel lines, perpendicular lines, right angle, obtuse angle, triangle, square, etc. So the teacher has created the first image. The teacher has created a printout of random geometrical lines moving all over. And then the thing is, you can give them a small task which says that just identify how many triangles are there, how many acute angles are there, can you identify perpendicular lines, can you identify parallel lines. So doing that, what will happen is, one, it becomes engaging, introduce color there. So first, you're not asking them, okay, now draw a parallel line. Okay, you're asking, okay, identify the line. So that eases the pressure for a lot of children who are not a little confident in the beginning. You can say those who struggle. And then the next question you can, after they've identified, so they've understood the concept through this exercise, they've identified each of the concepts through the printout. Then you give the next assignment saying, okay, in this next assignment, you can use any amount of color. You can use any kind of colors, but you have to create a visual containing 2 perpendicular lines, 3 squares of different sizes, 2 triangles of you can say 2 triangles of different sizes, 1 acute angle, 1 obtuse angle, 1 perpendicular line, so on. You can give these limits. This is what you have to represent. All right. And then whatever the children or the students are coming up with, you have to let them be. And then you will have a lot of artwork coming out, which is actually a showing technical know-how of the subject matter. So next, what I want to explain to you is that, and I think, don't worry, I've stopped the presentation. You'll agree with me that everything comes from nature. We have come out of nature, right? Although we are human beings and animals are different and plants are different, but there is an ecosystem running, and how anything which affects Earth in one part of the world, it affects us as well, right? So every amount of knowledge, every subject, physics, chemistry, bio, is coming from nature. Where is literature coming from? You might say, oh, we have created a language, but language was first created from the will of a human being to express. All right. Even birds express themselves. They communicate. The dogs communicate to each other, right? Animals have shown immense amount of compassion and emotions as well. So this will to communicate, dogs and animals could come up with sounds. Human beings had a greater intellect. We had a greater amount of intelligence and consciousness to actually create symbols which can be frozen into time and space, which means if I etch a symbol like Egypt, hieroglyphs, right? If I etch it onto the wall, anyone who comes after even my death can read it. So that's how you have, made your words immortal. That's why Vedas, when they were, say, the scriptures, they were passed on verbally, but they realized that this cannot go on. This is not a sustainable model. So they actually put it down on paper. So what I'm also trying to tell you is that, going back, that nature is the larger sect that we are actually trying to teach children, and find a lot of inspiration in nature for your teaching. For example, nature is geometry, patterns, and number. If you cut a lady's finger, you'll see a pentagon or number 5. So if you can associate children, you want to write number 5, you can also draw a pentagon. So what if some children had the freedom of, instead of writing 1, 2, 3, they are doing 1 for a line, 2 for, say, 2 lines, 3 for a triangle, 4 for a square, and so on, right? So there is structure of hexagonal grid and beehive. Then there's a you cut a lemon. So you do this physical exercise and not show them these pictures, is what art integration is about. The more senses you use, the more integrated it becomes. And this one, for example, is for upper primary and primary. Also that you're teaching numbers, you're teaching geometry, you can go into nature and you have enough examples right from the vegetables, right? Capsicum also you cut, you have a triangle there. So similarly, you have enough examples. For senior secondary and secondary, you know, complex mathematical formulas like these fractals, Mandelbrot set. This is the formula which has resulted in visualizing a fractal, and you can actually search for Mandelbrot set. This is called a Buddha image is created. This is another sect of science and maths that they are. So as you can see how the larger part, the smaller part is a representation of a larger part in the first green image. You know, it's replicating infinitely. Same with branches, same with lightning. A larger lightning comes, it divides into two, two divides into four, four into, you know, this pattern which is created is always there in nature. So which means a lot of sciences are there in nature. Again, for senior secondary and secondary, geometry, you can even go for asking them to construct geometrical shapes. And this geometry, 3D geometry, is found in chemical formulas. And for example, how molecules are created. So the they also combine themselves in a particular form. Certain molecules are tetrahedral, certain are, you know, trigonal, some are linear, and these are the geometrical forms also found in, say, vegetables, or as you can see on screen. Okay, so CO2 has a linear, and octahedral, you have SF6. So you know, you can have geometry mixing with chemistry and chemistry mixing with nature. Another example for primary and secondary could be even pre-primary. This could be used. You know, Jenga is a game. A lot of you might know. A lot of you might not know. But after this question, we'll take a small poll again. That also gives all of us a little break from listening. And okay, so Jenga, you can just, you know, there is something called wood beading, which you put on the side of a furniture, on the boundary of a plywood. So this beading is available all across Earth, no matter how small a village, big town, or a city, you find this beading everywhere. It's super cheap to buy. Just buy it, ask a carpenter to cut it into small pieces. Now these pieces become beautiful play set for adding numbers. You can even give for pre-primary or primary, you can, for primary, you can give, say, you give them 50 set of these small blocks. You can say, okay, create a structure for me with 10 blocks, create a structure for me with 32 blocks, create a structure for me with whatever, remaining 3 blocks. So they have to count. So counting will come in here. So maths numbers can easily come. Now physics, balance, inertia, and strength. This the senior grades can actually take it to create elaborate structures for bridges, for buildings, and understand center of gravity. Yes, we can use even, actually we can have, you know, the structure is supposed to hold weight. So that's how they understand the higher subject matter also. You can show how the wood is, because the plant always comes as a subject. The wood, trees also comes as a subject. So this can show the, you know, grains of the wood and how it works. So this simple, non-toxic, affordable, and easy to find material can become a great resource for teaching. Now packaging design for grade senior secondary and secondary. Packaging is any box, Amazon, your Mithai ka dabba, your Gems packet, or, you know, any kind of box is packaging. Now what packaging is involved is even a dice. You roll a dice, right? So, you know, you can unwrap a box into a flat sheet. You would see this in the Mithai shops or the sweet confectionery, that they have, the box comes as a flat sheet. They fold it into making a box. So now different kind of boxes come. You have geometry, space and form, measurement, folding, usability, user understanding, because each box is catering to a different need. It's catering to a different tool is required to make a box. Material knowledge is there, visual aesthetics, you know, what colors to use. So many different subject matter can come in one subject of packaging design. And this is, and now I would give you another poll. Relaunch, continue. Sorry. I would ask the moderators, I'm having trouble with polling how to go to the next question. Could you help me post the next question here? Yes, ma'am. Let's go and we'll come up with more. So meanwhile, the moderators help me with polling because it's not showing me the next question somehow. I don't. Acha, I can. Okay, I got it. Sorry, people, I've not used polling enough. I found the polling option on the top. So, okay, you have the next question. Which method of imparting knowledge you think gives the best result? Let's just take 30 seconds to do this. Okay, we have 45 seconds of these, but people are still actively polling, so we'll give some more time. The people who are raising hand, I'll just check some chat window meanwhile. Could you please send polling option again? Ma'am, what, anyone who is not having trouble with the polling option, because we cannot resend it. So you can even write on the, you know, on the chat window, you can write your decision. So the question is that which method of imparting knowledge you think gives the best result? And the three options are books. Second option is audiovisual, and third is hands-on project learning. So these are the three options: books, audiovisual, and hands-on project-based learning. Okay, thank you. So we are going to end the poll now. We have more questions. So, okay, at 714, we have 71% because we have a long presentation to go through. I think we'll end it here. Okay, thank you. So, and sorry for anyone who would not be able to participate in polling. I'll share the results. So we have 65% people who believe that hands-on learning is the way, 32% believe that audiovisual, and 3% believe it's the books. So now I must also share this, that, you know, each medium has its own pros and cons. In this life, everything is, it's the duality. Nothing is the best. Everything is situational. There are certain students who will actually love reading, and books. The point of books is that books are cheap to produce, can be mass produced, is more tangible, can be open closed in a flick of a second. Hands-on like project-based learning, although everybody agrees, and I also agree, that it brings a lot more learning onto the table and understanding, but it will also require more tools and material and etc. I will also share that how not all not project-based, it does not only mean that you need to invest money, and we'll find ways of having very cheap, simple methods of coming up with working with hands-on material. Audiovisual, again, books is of course visual, but it's targeting the thinking part. Audiovisual takes care of the visual and the sound. Hands-on is all multi-sensory, touch, sound, smell, taste, everything. So, okay. So that was, thank you for that poll. It gives us good insights. So now we all agree that hands-on way is not the way forward, I'm saying, but hands-on does make a lot of difference to learning. Okay. Now, simple toys. So some of you might know that Arvind Gupta has dedicated his life towards making science-based toys and toys for learning. Okay. So this one, it is a lot of physics concepts, a lot of maths, a lot of calculation can be involved when making toys. And toys are of various kinds, which means it targets pre-primary, targets primary, senior secondary, depending on how complex a toy you want to make and what all. So you can even say, okay, create a toy which brings in what maybe you studied about wind and you studied about velocity. So you can say, okay, you have to incorporate the theory of velocity, or you can say the concept of velocity. You have to use the material, given material, which is paper, and you can say a straw or etc., balloon, or you can even leave the much larger list. So there are more experiments coming out, and let them create some toys. And you can also on arvindguptatoys.com and on YouTube, you have immense kind of toys which are coming in. And trust me, these are science-based toys, which means mathematics, geometry, science, all subjects can be covered through these toys. For primary grade, when it comes to writing, we want to instill. There is a question of social science. We'll go there as well. Thank you, sir. And so, can I ask the person who just asked about the social science? Please tell me a topic, a specific topic. Okay, and artificial intelligence also there. So, can the moderators help me note these questions? One is I would want to know from Agnes about the particular topic in social science and history. Please give me particular topics because history is very big and social sciences. And also artificial intelligence. Just note these topics down so we can take it up. Okay.
Or we are already doing it, so no worries.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. So now when we want to instill a habit of reading and writing, whether it's numbers and numericals and words, and so always take data or content from their surrounding. The younger the child, the more you have to stick to the surroundings. You can't say, okay, just now start writing apple, and they don't even know what exactly an apple is, right? So I'm saying, what if the child, you say, okay, your name is Vanch, and you create a nameplate for it, or you create a nameplate for their parents' names, right? A nameplate for the family house, or they pick alphabets and numbers from their surrounding, which means the parents' numbers, and you actually create such a colorful number plate. So they're memorizing the number while they're also creating something interesting. Similarly, their family birthdays, their car number, because we always, for safety reasons, also we want the children to remember the parents' number, phone numbers, and we also want them to remember the car number, because so that when the parents are picking up the child, they can identify the car of the same model, etc. So always pick up. So the child, when he or she sees, oh, this number is there of the car, for example, the car number, right? The registration number of the car. And they create a beautiful looking plate for it. And apart from the official plate, you also put their plate on the car. They'll feel proud of it and they'll not forget the number then. So I'm saying always use content that the children can relate to, because it will bring in more engagement. Stay away from using random words and bringing it first. First, see whatever is around them. It could be even school, because they visit the school. Now, colors and emotions. So also to engage people in writing for languages, whether English or Hindi both. This is for primary and secondary school also. Colors are associated with emotions. For example, they say red is for excitement and boldness and sometimes anger. And trust is for blue, and royal is imaginative, is creative, is purple. These are colors are associated, because I'm not saying it's a hard and fast rule, but the color theory and the research has shown that this is, it gives the feeling, and it holds true to a certain extent. So in this exercise, one, you can ask the child to create a heart. You give them a form of a heart and say, red, give a word of your emotion, what you're feeling inside with a certain color. So they can say, okay, for me, red is frustrated, and for me, scared is black. And then they fill the heart with the emotions that is going through. So one, they're becoming aware of their whole emotional internal cycle that is going on. Secondly, they're translating it in words and visuals on paper. And third, they're also writing it, which means language is coming through there, through emotions and colors. All right. And similarly, you can see that this color emotion guides how different companies use their colors, because they want to represent that identity. So bring color theory into your teaching. So one good example here was that, because the children will be going to a new class, so you can have an essay explaining children's feeling. The children are explaining their feelings about the new school year, and this can be a great way to start, to engage them in writing. Just tell them, how do you feel about the new class? And amongst COVID, so there are even more emotions. This is an assignment I used to give my children, my students, when I was teaching at Riverside School. I was a class teacher there. And see, I'm a commerce student. I chose not to take science. purely because I wanted to work on my own skills. I was doing learning animation by myself when I was in grade 10, from grade 9 onwards. When I was in grade 8, I decided I'll become an animator. So I decided, why should I dedicate myself to so much rote learning, because I saw the size of the book and it clearly indicated how much I'll have to read. Rather, I can build on my multiple intelligence that I already have. So similarly, so I teach science because I love science, honestly. But it doesn't mean that I would want to study books, too many books for it. And I'm good at science, so I had science after my boards, but I chose to take commerce. But I've been a science teacher for grade 4 and a class teacher for them as well. So I taught them about the solar system, and then I told them, okay, create a comic around any particular concept. Okay, so they're writing, okay, moon, I'm a natural satellite, and then it's like moon moves away from the earth with gravity of moon pulls the ocean water towards itself. So they're creating these stories, and you can use this for upper primary and even secondary. So the complexity of comic will increase with the same medium of comic can go into senior secondary grade also and primary grade also. Manju Yadav ma'am is asking ki Hindi language pe. So Manju Yadav ma'am, I was actually clearly asked to take this session in English, but only for you I'm saying, जो भी मैं बात कर रहा हूँ languages के ऊपर, like यहाँ पे भी बच्चे लोग कुछ लिख रहे हैं, if it applies to English, it applies to Hindi. मतलब अगर वो अंग्रेजी भाषा में उसका आप इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, तो फिर आप हिंदी में भी कर सकते हैं. भाषा का यहाँ पे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. It's the concept that you're using. So wherever, मंजू दीदी, आप ये देखिए कि जहाँ पे भी कुछ लिखा हुआ आ रहा है ना, किसी बच्चे ने कुछ लिख के अगर असाइनमेंट किया है, वहां पे हिंदी लैंग्वेज आप अप्लाई कर दीजिएगा डायरेक्टली. ऑलराइट. Now, another comic is around tectonic plates that I took as geography, for example. Right? They're showing how they move and what happens and how earthquakes come. Writing styles. To promote writing, give them a huge range of writing styles. Fonts होते हैं जैसे on computer. You have different fonts. Similarly, you can encourage them to write differently. As long as it's legible, you can have a different criteria for marking for legibility, not beautiful. I'm saying if something is not very beautiful but legible, but versus something is beautiful but not legible, so aesthetics का अलग marks मिलेगा आपको writing का, और legibility, which means how clearly I can read it, उसका अलग marks मिलेगा. Which means that I'm not putting someone down because they are because they are very, very different things, and you can actually promote both. So someone who's getting low marks, they will understand, okay, I'm writing beautifully, but it's not legible. So let me write beautifully, but let me find a way to make it even better. Now, another concept is graphic design and information layout. This is for upper primary or senior secondary and secondary grades, which is that, information can be visually represented. What graphic designers are doing. You see a beautiful ad, you're like, "Arey wah, kya ad banaya, kya concept, etc." Right? There are these applications like Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Canva, which is a beautiful application. Teach them these applications, which are super, super simple. Let them come out with concepts. Let them work with, even when I say information layout, you have to understand, if you see this imprint magazine, heading has to be bigger. Why? What is the first article that is written? The future of the print. Why? Why is that print there? That is information structuring, right? This is for English language or Hindi language play, ma'am. Aapki school magazine can also be in Hindi, in your regional language. That hardly makes a difference. आप ये समझिए, please understand that this concept means that we are asking the children to take data, which means they collect first the information from the whole school in the school magazine, right? They collect pictures. So someone is exploring their photography side. Someone is exploring their interpersonal skills, which means they're asking questions to teachers, to principal, to other students. Some students are actually creating content because some students are, putting the layout down. So some are working on software, and possibly intrapersonal people can also, visual spatial people can work better on that. And everybody is putting their specialization together to create a magazine. And a lot of writing, reading happens through this one activity. Integrate this activity on an evaluation basis. Okay, which means this has to be evaluated. Creative activities, don't think that they are only meant to give students a little break from their otherwise learning. I'm saying these creative activities have to be evaluated. Again, I'll show you the evaluation structure, how it can be, but they have to be evaluated on different intelligence schemes. Learning through sound and music. This is for pre-primary, primary, upper primary, can go up to senior secondary also. Now, beats, I was saying like musical intelligence, beats are counting, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So little children can actually go on that. And for little children, for pre-primary, it is, okay. So it is always good that we always give them great rhythms to sing. Okay. So music can have math operators, audio samples, folk songs, instruments, study country and culture through music, the music history. Music also develops motor skills, physical development. Music brings in discipline, social skills. It boosts EQ, concentration, and focus. Now for senior grades, upper primary and senior secondary, there are, music has a lot of Pythagoras ratios, you know, because it is going in, notes have a certain degree in which it goes in a stepping stone, like it increases in a certain ratio, you know, amplitude, same pitch. So social studies, because you can also study, like I said, that you can study music history and how it has impacted people, how a lot of people reach out for, how do you say, these public service announcements through music and songs and drama and theater, right? History, physics, math can come through it, invention, working of an instrument, etc. Musical fractions are there, frequency in hertz, arrival of air pockets for middle C in seconds. So you are seeing how the air pocket, the, you know, the pressure, air pressure arrives, and then musical notes, and you're adding notes and see the math behind that. So again, upper primary, a lot of us will not be educated in music. Now is the time to collaborate with your music teacher or online resources and other people who have this knowledge and come up with art integration programs. Drama theater involves storytelling, acting, body movement, sound, music, space manipulation, set, prop design, apparel design, sound and light design. So drama and theater has such a huge variety of intelligences or contribution, or you can say methods and processes coming in, that almost any subject can be taught through drama and theater. What if I tell a bunch of, as you can see the pictures, I tell a bunch of 4 students, you have to tell me the concept behind photosynthesis. Another, I give, okay, you have to tell me a senior grade, I tell you have to give me the feeling of organic and inorganic chemistry, but through a play. And then you can evaluate on what is happening there. Okay. Now, this was a superhero suit, which means you are creating a superhero suit for children. They have given them an assignment. This assignment can have planning, imagination, collaboration, measurement, area, calculation, conversion of one unit to another, fraction, user understanding. I'm running through now so that there is this was a mapping exercise. You might be able to hear the sound, or you might not. Okay. These kids are actually counting the length and breadth of the school, and the distance of different boundary wall to the, you can say, the room, etc. What is happening is their assignment is they have to create a map of the school, and now they map everything, which means that their sense of visual perception, spatial perception is coming in, that intelligence. Their counting is coming in, their measurement is coming in. They will write about the particular building, what the building is about. The writing will come in. This activity can be partly creative, which means you can have how creatively they have put it and how accurate the map is, because the counting steps, which means if it is 50 steps across and 100 steps in breadth, for example, then it is 1:2 ratio. So that ratio has to show, that accuracy has to be shown. So you can evaluate on the different. So reading, writing, direction, topography, geography, planning, measurement, space management, system thinking can come through this. This was one which basically the forces behind the experiential. This is an exercise I gave that me somebody recorded about my I was giving the example of how inclined plane works. To show inclined plane, I gave them 200 kgs. They were supposed to take 200 kgs from ground basement to ground level, from basement to ground level. Once they could not lift 200 kgs, I just told them, okay, try the ramp, just pull it. And they could. So they understood how the effort is made easier through something like an inclined plane. Now you have to understand that exams and evaluation may look different than in the past. Just by giving art integration does not mean the exam has to be again back to oral and written. That will defeat the purpose because you have trained them to express the whole year round. Now that expression, if it goes back to written, and so again they will suffer. So this is an example that little child is given a sheet 7 plus 4 and he or she is making a small apple with the dots of seeds and what is the total of the mathematical example, mathematical question. Now there is something called exam, there is another called jury system which we have for design colleges, which can actually be applied for, which is a live